Hi yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from Vancouver, Canada, and this is video number 9. Today is November the 4th, 2019, and I am going to be talking about some yarn creations that I've completed. So this channel has been set up to talk about crochet and knitted projects. So today I've got a few that are finished off the hooks and off the needles, and I also am looking at new projects that I will be starting, so I'd love to share those with you as well. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing by hitting the red button along the framework here somewhere of the video. There is a red button, subscribe. Love to get you in to my little family that's just being created, and to those coming back subscribe who have already subscribed, welcome back. I hope you enjoy the next little while. So how was everyone's Halloween? We are now 4 days on from October 31st, and personally what I did was I went to my brother and sister-in-law's place where they have their two little girls, and we went trick-or-treating with the older girl and had loads of fun. She stayed up way too late, so she had a little bit of a meltdown with chocolate and sugar. I also went to a dinner party, which is kind of a ongoing dinner party of friends who put on potlucks, and it's a traveling dinner party, so sometimes it will be at one person's place and sometimes another person's place, and it's theme based, so it's wine pairing with a different dish to be kind of fashioned in whatever theme that the host has created. So this theme that I went to this weekend was childhood favorite foods made to a decadent standard. So what we contributed to that was a melted cheese sandwich, and we had chosen brie for our cheese, and we caramelized onions and chose a bread that had cranberry walnut and also put some prosciutto in there. So it turned out to be a decadent cheese melt. We paired it with a Pinot Noir, so it was well received. Phew, sometimes when you kind of don't test these things out, which we hadn't, we weren't sure whether or not it would be a nice tasting dish to share amongst people, and some of whom I don't know very well. So, which brings me to the topic of like conversation. I wanted to bring up my YouTube channel in the evening's conversation, and there was moments of questions about like what I do and what I'm interested in. So it was like one of my first real open discussions with people I felt comfortable with talking about the YouTube channel. So not too many of the guests I didn't know that well. There were probably 2 or 3, and they were all well receiving my enthusiasm about this podcast or this YouTube channel. So one of I guess my personal struggles with starting this YouTube channel was that I wasn't feeling too confident about being in front of a camera to talk about my knitted and crocheted projects, and I wanted to see whether or not it was something I wanted to continue doing. But I'm loving it. I really enjoy challenging myself because I'm not the most natural speaker in public, and even though there's no one in the room in front of me, I know that when I put it out there, it's for everyone to see and comment. Sorry. That's why I love talking about my projects on YouTube, because it is a matter of the viewer's choice. Should they want to click on a link, or maybe read a bit about the subtitle to know the premise of what the video would be talking about. So with that, I shall bring to you what I have got in my yarn bowl as finished items. So this is another yarn bowl that I created at the pottery studio. It has this lovely drippy effect, and the yarn thread through is this kind of a 3 loopy branchy looking carving. It's holding a Christmas beanie that I knitted up using a self-patterning yarn, and which is brilliant. It saves a lot of work switching out different yarn colors, and the nice thing about it is that there's no floats on the inside. So this self-patterning yarn is Michael's one of Michael's house brands called Loops and Threads, and the collection is called Scandi in the colorway Beach. And in this skein you get 320 meters or 200 grams, and I tried to center pull, but a huge bath came out of the center in this crazy tangle. So I spent almost, I would say, 40 minutes rolling, like spinning this ball up so that I could sort of rectify the problem of the bath. That a bath is like a tangle of wool that comes out of the center when you try and center pull, and I'll show you what I mean with that with another skein. But it does have all of the dye work happening within the one strand. So you're knitting with or crocheting with one strand, and you create the pattern work, which is lovely. So I think there's probably another 2 hats left in that skein that's left to add to the collection of hats that I'm giving out for Christmas. And the next one is a new pattern that I featured in my previous pattern purchases, and it's called Banff Cap, or the Banff Beanie, and it's from Tin Can Knits, and I will link to the description box down below the URL on Ravelry, I think they're on, where you can find this pattern. But it's an adorable little forest. I love that. It's so cool. And what I used for the yarn was, I'll show you, this green called Forest Green from Shaman, 100% acrylic as well, in a 4 worsted weight, and the yellow green is from Gazelle XL Baby Wool from Hobium.com, and this is a wool mix blend. So we have 40 acrylic, 20% cashmere, and 40% lana merino. And this online wool company is situated in Turkey. So those 2 colors work really well together. So that's the pattern again. And then I wanted to do the pattern with the like a light dark contrast. So I did it on this oatmeal-y color using the green from the skein that I showed you, the dark green, the forest green as the trees, and that forest green was from Shaman again. And the oatmeal color was Aaron Fleck by Red Heart Super Saver. So I've done a few other caps with that Aaron Fleck, and this is the second full hat that I got from this skein, and I believe that there might be one more hat that I could use with the remaining skein. So that's the caps, and you may have noticed behind me this crocheted shawl scarf. I think it's kind of like a scarfachie or whatever it's called, that I showcased in my previous video number 8, and it was a lesson that I was like a kind of like a mini tutorial lesson doing the drills of double crochet, and I was playing with increasing and decreasing. So I had started off with this side, and I increased playing around with double crochet, and I was doing just the increase on the bottom part of the little scarfachie, or if you want to call it a shawl, and the top side I left I didn't increase, I just left horizontal, and continued on doing color work, doing little eyelets, changing up my yarn, striping my yarn. And then at this point here, which was, it ended up being 24 inches, I decided to start my decrease. So in my decreases, I decreased a lot more rapidly, so I had a sharper angle with my decreases. And then I just did a little piping up here with a couple of single crochets for finishing off the top part, and the bottom I did a couple of more rows to finish the bottom part. So all in all, it was a great little lesson. I did learn lots from it, and I am going to do a lot more asymmetrical triangle shapes or wedges like this. I do really like the equilateral triangle, where you grow from the base of the point and then you follow the left and right are all the same, and they follow up the triangle and get larger and larger. I do like that structure, but I do like this one as well because it's a little bit more asymmetrical. So I'll show you what it looks like worn and the different types of ways that you can wear it. It's kind of a unisex, I think, like, because the colors are a little more muted. They're not so bright. You can kind of start off wrapping this part around, making a little bib like this, and then when you bunch up and come around again, you can tuck this end in because it's like longer and shorter, and you have a little scarfette that can go underneath a jacket, and you have color work, you have like little eyelets that show up. It's got a lot of variety in it, so you can wear it that way. And another way that you can wear it is, I guess, you can put the triangle bit on your back, like the reverse, because that was in the front before, and you just sort of bunch it up like that and go around and have the loop that through, and then you've got dangly bits down here where you can maybe tie it, or yeah, go like that. So there's a lot of options that you can do with this asymmetrical wedge shaped triangle, and because one is quite a long and thin piece, you can tie it into knots, or you could grab it around and do a couple of more loops around your neck with a long thin part of the triangle. The base of this shawl was a cake that I had purchased from Hobium, and it was in their Kartopu range, and that's all that's left of the cake. And the colorway is H2155, and we have it's made in Turkey, as I was saying. It has 75% acrylic, 15 wool, and 10 Lincoln. I don't really know what Lincoln is, but it's a little fuzzy, as you can tell. Like it does catch on itself when you're frogging it back. So if your stitch work is looser, you'll have a better chance of having a cleaner frog when you want to unravel it. And what else can I tell you about this wool? Oh, you get 820 meters in 200 grams, and they're saying to machine wash, and it doesn't give you a grade of weight for this yarn, but a crochet hook size of 2.5 to 3. So or knitting needles 3.5 to 4. I used a 3 size hook, and I would think that perhaps maybe it's a little lighter than a 3, a lightweight 3. I would say it's probably a DK, no, 2, whatever that is. I think it's a fine 2. So I used that one, and the other thing that I used was also from Kartopu, the Angora Natural, this one. I separated the bands of color changes, or the stripes, with this one. It doesn't have a color name, but the color number is K1860, and that one is kind of like a beige color. Again, the same weight as the cake. And this skein is 100 grams, and you get 530 meters. I only used probably half of this skein to do that shawl. And when I was telling you about the center pull, so a center pull is when you go in through the center and you pull the end of the skein through. And I also did it with this one. It's coming through the end here, as you can see. Yep. And as it comes out, it means that you can leave your skein band on and have your skein kind of shrink from the middle. It keeps it kind of like a little bit more compact, like it's not tangling or messing up the skein. If you have it from the outside, it has to roll around everywhere. So this way it's a lot easier to keep a tidy skein as you work. And the last one that I used was this teal color, because teal is also included in the colorway of the cake, but this one is slightly thicker in weight. I would say that is almost a 3. But what I liked about using this teal in the design here was that I wanted to weight the bottom of the shawl or the scarf a little bit more with a heavier yarn, so that would help pull it down and it wouldn't sort of like do anything weird with shaping. So I added that into the bottom part so that it would help the fabric drape better. So those were three things that I got from Hobium. Now, for you viewers out there, I'm not affiliated with any of the yarn companies that I mentioned, either online or any store bought yarn that I've mentioned. Just so that you guys know that all of these opinions are purely my own and my honest opinions, so I hope that you got something out of them. The other thing that I want to talk about is a project that I want to start, and I have purchased from the same shipment of the other Hobium yarns was this Utopia baby set, and it's a black and white yarn, and I got 5 skeins, and I'm looking to make a cardigan. So what I came up with was I found this pattern, and it's a cool pattern. It's called the Vermouth cardigan. I don't know whether you can see that. Vermouth cardigan. And it is by Elizabeth Colding Sivertson. And what I liked about it was it has a nice detail that is in the bottom of the cardigan. It's like this ribbing. I'm trying to get this photograph in between my 2 bedroom windows. So down here in the sleeves and in the base of the body, there's like an interesting ribbing style pattern, and I think that looks great. It's a great feature. I also like the collar of it as well. So I found the buttons for them already. I'm going to use the that style there. So kind of like a smoky black and grey button. So that's probably going to get on to my needles for the next project, my next big project. And with that, I think I'm all done. I'm all up to date. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you found anything of interest, if you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do consider subscribing, and it's the red button below, and hit that bell button if you want notification of any future videos that are coming out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.